All right, everyone, welcome to today's Downtown Development Authority meeting for July 10th, 2025. We are going to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We are going to do some roll call here. We'll start, as always, down. If you just want to say your name, and we'll just go through, and then we'll say who we're not here.
Al Pryor, here.
Ryan Retzlaff, here.
Gabe Coleman, here.
Ryan Foster, here.
Lucas Diver here.
Philip Frizzell, here.
Royce Blanton, here.
And we are missing Jason Jindo. He is not in attendance today. On to 3 here, the approval of the agenda. I made it the other day. If anybody has anything to add or anything like that, I think we're good. All right, I'll make the motion to approve today's July 10th, 2025 DDA agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. On to the approval of the minutes for the June 12th, 2025 meeting. I peeked them over, as always, before I came over here today. I didn't see anything. Anybody else got anything that day? I thought it was good. So, all right, I'll make the motion to approve the June 12th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. On to the invoices here. Invoice approval. First one we're going at is the Manikin Smith Group invoice ending in 017 for the dollar amount of $470.25. Sorry, I forgot to mention Mark is in attendance with us today. Mark, I believe this is just your personal fees, correct?
That's correct. Meeting attendance and coordination with the road commission on the signal agreement.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. All right. With that being said, I'll make the motion for the $470.25 going to Manikin Smith Group for the invoice ending in 017.
Second.
All right. We'll do voice approval on this one. Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Gabe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lucas? Yes. Phil? Joyce? All right. So moved. Next one, Progressive Sweeping. $353.50 for the invoice ending in 276. Looks like this is our typical progressive sweeping that we always get here, and the fuel recovery charge has stayed at the 1%, so we're good with that. I'll make the motion to approve the $353.50 over to progressive sweeping ending in the invoice ending in 276. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All right, voice approval. Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Gabe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lucas, yes.
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
All right, so moved. Consumers Energy. Looks like we owe them $102.67 for the invoice ending in 5817. And that looks like it's right on cue with almost last June as 24. So we're almost right there with it. All right, I'll make the motion to approve the 102.67 going to Consumers Energy for the invoice number ending in 5817. Good night.
I'll second.
All right, voice approval. Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Gabe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lucas, yes. Phil?
Yes.
Joyce? Yes. All right, so moved. Last but not least, our George Welling invoice for $135 to be able to put this meeting online and on the TV here. Invoice ending in 0612. This is our typical every month bill for George here. So I'll make the motion to approve the $135 going to George Wellings and the invoice ending in 0612. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Gabe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lucas, yes. Phil?
Yes.
Joyce, yes. All right, so moved. All right, everybody, good work. On to the old business here. Letter A, I started us off probably with the one that's going to take probably the most amount of time here to talk about would be the ideas for the park memorial. So as you remember last meeting, we had, I forget his name, Al, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on it. Tom come in, give us the examples of everything, and then we were kind of going. I wrote a few ideas on the back. I don't know if we want to just start down at Al, throw a couple ideas at us, work our way down, and your idea might spark something for Joyce or, whatever. So if we want to do that.
My idea that I still kind of liked is I want to kind of have like a separate area where it's kind of has like the border like we've seen in some of the pictures, and then have the monument set there. I'm not quite sure where I want it yet, but I think it would look pretty neat.
Right.
Instead of just, I don't want to just stick a monument there and that's it.
Right. Weeds grow up next to it and all that. Yeah, you got to like mulch it out and right.
Question, would you face it so you could have the plaques or whatever you're going to call them on both sides?
Oh, to the facing on both
Yeah.
sides? I don't know. I think we'd have to take a look at that and see.
I mean, that's
Depending where we would put it, it might be good to do that only because
right.
if you need the extra room, right, you got the other side to work with. So I don't think it's a bad idea.
Right.
You just have to watch placement.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that really wasn't my idea. I stopped by and I saw a guy next to you right there, and we were talking about that. And I think he came up with that, didn't you? Anyway, we talked about it. So that's good, though. You get more bang for your buck that way.
Right.
If you can do it.
Are we all kind of in agreement that we want the Michigan-shaped stone? Is that like a yes for everybody? And color we can look at and whatever, because I know.
Yeah, color's not hard.
We talked about it. We said, though, it could be a Michigan shape, but with a Michigan shape, are you going to get enough area to do that, or can you put a Michigan-like symbol inside of the
Like a rectangular stone
Yeah.
or a square stone with a engraving of the state of Michigan, I think would be better. Because if you get,
Don't max
I
them
think
out.
back to what Phil was saying, if you get that thumb piece, right, you may not be able to get much in there.
Right,
If you
yeah,
want to
you're
put more
limiting.
plaques on it. So
Yeah.
I think just to make the most space would be some kind of rectangular or square stone. I wish I had brought the book with me because there was one in there that was perfect.
You might get some.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm kind of thinking.
Well, yeah,
stuff
maybe not that big.
or-
Like maybe something
Kind
that's
of
bigger.
with a little
Even something like
character
this would be,
Yeah, a
with
little
a different look
character,
too, would
but-
even be cool.
Not crazy.
I
If
think
you
we
had one with,
do
that
too much with it.
and, some kids might get up and jump on.
What do we want it to say?
Yeah.
Would be my next question for you
I do
guys.
too, and
Sorry.
Is what do we
Square,
want
just
the stone to say on the top? I came up with a few ideas. I'm not saying they're the greatest thing of all time. I just wrote what I was thinking this morning. In my two favorites, I have three of them here. The two that I think sound the best, and it will not hurt my feelings if you tell me no. Forever in our hearts, always in our community at the top, or one community, countless legacies at the top. Then, for example, Linda Flick, DDA, BBA, owner of Flick's Liquor. You could do, and then put the day that they, birthday, and the day they passed away. Yes, no, maybe so.
Well, again, it's a function of the size of the
Right.
plaque you're
Right.
going to put on
'Cause
there.
I think he said we can do really anything.
Well, you can do any size you want.
But then it's how much you want to put, and like
Right.
how big. If you were to pick one of those sayings, how big do you want that on there?
Right.
You probably want that decent sized
Sure.
to show, and then from there, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the big one's your
Let me-
showpiece.
Let me just go back and ask, what is the actual purpose of putting up the memorial? To do what? To honor people who have served on the DDA and to highlight the DDA? Or is it something, because, if we're putting up everything that somebody did in the community,
Yeah, we could.
that's a whole
Oh, I could get long.
other sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
That could get real long.
Right.
my thing is, I think it should just be the DDA and what years they served.
And are we doing, like Gabe said, are we doing still living too?
like
So not,
3 or more terms, or that's
Yeah, I think that's where we got to figure out the criteria.
Yeah.
What gets your name on there? Is it 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms? I mean, Joyce, I think you've.
how many
6
terms
since
have
the
you
start,
been on?
right?
Would you know, like a rough?
Yeah.
16?
Well, this is 2025, and I think we formed in 96 or 7 or
Something like
8,
that.
something like that.
I'll figure that out.
A few.
Well, let's just say
yeah.
over 25. Yeah, and there are those founders who aren't around anymore,
Right.
but they're still living. Lamar was, when we started the whole thing, he was the
He was supervisor, wasn't he? At that?
excuse me, yeah, supervisor. I'm sorry, I just got back from overseas, and my brain's not working yet. But yeah, he was a supervisor, but who really got the thing going? It was under Walt. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So I don't know.
So if you terms 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you've done 26 years, then that's.
Oh, I
you've
don't
done
know.
13
Is it
terms.
2 years? I don't know. I don't
I believe
remember.
it's 2, isn't it? Every 2.
Longer term. We'd have to double check.
Maybe it's 3. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
that's
3.
longer than 2.
Okay, so if
It's more
it's.
than 2.
I'm trying to remember. It could be 3. Yeah, it could be 3. So if you did
So
20.
I'd probably like to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
So I say, like, a good, in my eyes, if we're going off of Joyce, who's been on the entire time, 5 is probably, if she's been on 8, 4 or 5, I mean, halfway, you got to be at least half on for half the time that's been on so
Yeah,
far.
Paul Taylor obviously
Yeah,
was an initial member, and he was on until he sold, obviously, the business. So,
So let's do, are we all okay with 4 terms? 4 terms is what we're saying is going to be the limit for that. And then Joyce, could you find a list of I wonder if it's downstairs.
probably have it
Trudy might still
downstairs,
have
but
all that.
I've got a box that Paul Taylor gave me, which may have certainly the original members on it, but I'm not going through it to try to find every
Right.
member.
I'm sure there's got to be a list downstairs
I
or
think
something we
Trudy
can
has
find.
something, yeah.
Well, okay, so we'll ask Trudy
I did look for pictures and stuff, didn't really find anything.
for a list of founding names. And then after that, I think it'd probably have to be something that one of us sat down and did, or Trudy did, where we figure out who did 4.
Right.
At least 4. And I'm sure there's documentation somewhere of that
Oh, yeah, she should.
down the line. It's just we'll have to figure that out. Okay, so 4 terms. We're going to ask Trudy for the list of the founding names. That being said, what do you guys think should be the label, this phrase at the top? Like, I'm just going to remembering the DDA. I'm not saying we're going to use that, but do we have an idea of how that, or do you just want to put DDA?
No, I think it needs to be Downtown Development Authority.
Yes,
Number
right. Yeah.
1. And number 2, I wonder if there's a succinct way in small type at the bottom that somebody could read to explain what very simply
What we do?
what the DDA is, but how we do that simply, I'm not
Right.
really sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one might be almost too hard.
Maybe not. I mean, we don't have to go into tax increment financing or any of that sort of stuff, but maybe
I'm looking on here.
something about the DDA
Like here,
carried out a responsibility to
Well,
develop
yeah, they got.
You could do something like
our
Downtown Development Authority founded such and such to do such and such in this area.
right.
Something like that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know exact wording, but
Brian said to like grow the community.
Develop and grow.
yeah,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I like that. Like something. Yeah, I'm gonna scratch that down real quick.
Yeah.
We got. I'm just gonna abbreviate DDA. Founded.
Yeah.
X. To. Grow.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Grow and develop.
Grow and develop.
Yeah, I got the original one on the act, what it says
Maybe
here.
this area of the community, so it kind of
Yeah.
focuses or somehow narrows it to.
Right. This area
Yeah.
of the community. Yep, I like that.
Yeah, it says development of a township business via a designated development plan for the downtown business district located at the prime intersection of Secor and Stearns in Lambertville. And it says why they did it.
What if we DDA founded to grow and develop the area of Stearns and Secor? You want to put that in there to really narrow it down into?
We could.
You-
You know,
could
like-
also-
Or
You just say
downtown
Bedford.
Lambertville. That's a designated downtown
Yeah.
area of Lambertville.
To grow.
Probably
Lambertville.
not a bad idea, although I hate to get this too wordy, to say founded under Michigan state law to develop and grow the Secor Stearns intersection area, or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, another line of whatever, yeah.
Yeah, because that wouldn't be. I mean, really, that's not
Explanation.
too much.
No.
I mean, it's really not. It's a 2-sentence.
And it could be
phrase.
put on a plaque at the bottom if it's too
Absolutely.
much engraving in the stone.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Yep. I will.
in fact, that's better.
Okay.
Stand out.
All right. So for next meeting, what I'll do is I'm going to reach out to Trudy for this list. And then I'll have some names. Al, if you want to talk to Tom and ask him, like, hey, if we have we want this many stones, we have this many names.
Right.
How big should we make it? Because we're
Right.
probably going to add more to it.
Okay.
Because then I think the size of the stone isn't really up to us, unfortunately. I think it's up to,
How much you want on there?
yeah, like how much. I mean, it is up to us at the end of the day, but we don't want to cut it short.
That's why you gotta do two sides.
Right, yeah, you do two sides. And
by definition, you got.
can he, and then I guess ask him that too, Al, if he could do
Two sides.
two-sided.
Oh,
Yeah, if we could
Okay.
continue on to the back. So, cool. All right. Does anybody else have anything to add on that? We're making progress with that. We're chipping away.
No, but I think we need to take a look at the color. I was going to do that,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't have time before I left, but make sure it kind of blends in with, because there's some brickwork there and,
Yeah.
so make sure that kind of,
You want to do that now? You guys want to pick a color now? That's the easy part, to be honest.
no,
If we-
I'd like to go look and see what's there right now.
Oh,
then
I
what-
see what you're
It
saying.
blends
And see
in.
what will work.
It
Go to
doesn't-
the park and see. Yes,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yep, we can do
So
that.
it doesn't
Yep, so have
like a
a
pimple on the nose,
if you guys can go check out the park at some point and then take your little book, and if you want to do a 1, 2, 3, have your 3 favorites or 2 favorites or whatever, and then if we can kind of vote as a group. And then I'll try to get that list before next meeting, Al, so that so then you can come back to the meeting with
That's good.
all that. So
Yeah, I think you want some contrast.
cool. All righty.
Contrast between the
Well,
plates
They're
and what's ever.
down on the list to letter B. We're moving on to update on the traffic light agreement. As of last meeting,
Who would that
we had the agreement, did we not? It was the
Yes.
day before, right?
Yeah, the road commission has it now.
Yeah, we're just waiting on the road commission.
Now we're waiting on them.
Which I have, Barry stopped by my office the other day, and he told me that we can expect a 2 to 3 week, I don't know if you've heard this too, like 2 to 3 weeks from now, we should have an answer from them coming back. Is that about right? Yeah, so another waiting game, but there's not much,
Boy.
it's out of our hands. That's the best part. It is not up to us anymore. It's up to them to come back and say yes or no.
I don't know if that-
So, does anybody, Mark, do you have anything to add on that? No? Good on that? Everybody else good on that? I think really, like we said, it's waiting on the next thing here. So, cool. All right. On to the next thing, Mannequin Smith update for letter C. I'll let Mark kind of take over here.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't believe I have a whole awful lot besides there is some traffic count data that was collected from your electronic speed signs within the DDA boundaries. This is one of the charts. There should be 3 charts, but this is just an aggregation of the data from one of the reports. The rest of the data has the rest of the reports have all the granular data. There's a lot of very technical information in there, but I would say, just for your information, there's probably 3 key takeaways that you can get from some of this count data. The first being traffic volumes for an extended period of time. The Road Commission will conduct traffic counts on most all of their county roads, usually once a year in a cycle. With this, you're collecting it constantly. And the bigger advantage to this, when we do road design, when we look at design standards for developing highway plans, we look at those road counts and we try to scale them. There's formulas that the Institution of Transportation Engineers publishes to kind of scale, to consider traffic is busier is school time. You know, school buses in the morning and the afternoon, that'll change. Traffic is busier or less busy on the weekends compared to, say, a Tuesday, compared to an afternoon. So when the Road Commission is collecting usually a 24-hour count, we have to use formulas to kind of scale that to what we would expect your annual average daily traffic is instead of one-day snapshot. This, we can drill down that data and kind of look a little bit further into it and make more of an educated guess. So there's a nice advantage there. Second one, targeted enforcement. When we talk about law enforcement, looking at speeds, if there's a correlation to higher speeds within a certain period of the day, this backs up that data and allows the Sheriff's Department to make a better informed use of their resources. And then the third one, the speed limits. Speed limits are set based on your 85th percentile speed. You know, what speed are 85% of those cars traveling or less? And what I did notice in this data is it does fall into that 40 to 45 mile an hour range, which is where it's signed currently. It's not justified to change the speed limits any. So.
68 and 25.
Is that, I mean, this sounds maybe like a dumb question, but that's what we're wanting out of these signs, right? Is to get that to quote unquote scare people that it flashes red, slow down, so that the next day they go through that we get that 85%, right? Like that's the whole point at the end of the day.
That's the entire purpose,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
as well as that enforcement piece with the sheriff.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Look at the first 2 numbers right here. You got it.
Yeah, they're locked. I mean, half of them are going under.
Yeah, you got, you got 68 plus
Yeah.
25.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, as always, because it makes it easier for us, because when we're looking at it, we look at it and go, what are we looking at? You know, so you breaking it down like that makes it a lot easier for us. So we appreciate it, as always. Thanks for stopping by today. All right, on to D. Onto the Boo Bash. I know we kind of agreed last month to get Rachel going and the budget and kind of all that. So is there any updates on that? Do we need to do anything?
We don't have to do anything. We're going back and forth. It's just we talked about how you guys had said about maybe doing the trunk or treat to 2:30 on that short. The only thing I would say if we do that is we still don't want people to take down, because that would just be
Don't take down at 2.
Don't take down at 2. Well, don't take down. Like, you can stop, but like we don't want the horse carriage and all that. People are still going. We don't want people trying to move their cars. That'd be the only thing.
Good point.
So if we do it at 2:30, that's fine. But still, people can't. You can mill around, but you can't. You shouldn't be able to, because that would just be a problem.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah. So I don't know. So Rachel and I we hashed that out, and then once we get the flyer out, then I know between Rachel, Ryan, and I will hit the businesses in August. You know, stop by and let them know. So yeah, so
perfect.
That's we're on track. So
awesome.
So that's just the only thing is pros and cons of trying to cut it at 2:30. So.
Yeah, and I'm just speaking for myself here. If that becomes too much of a problem, just make it go till 3, right? Like, I mean, at that point, this was just something we were trying to do. At the end of the day, it's
well, even like, so if we could have it go to 3, and so we'll do a table. We'll probably do a table. You'll do it. Even if the three of us who do tables shut them down at 3 o'clock, at 2:30, and go kind of then and get together with everybody else to vote and do those kind of things. Everybody else, they don't need to know that. I guess we're shut it down at 3, but we can
Right, internally kind of do that, yeah.
shut our 3 things down. That's probably not going to be something that's noticed too much, as long as we're not parked in 3 consecutive.
Yeah, right,
places.
right.
You did one and gave him
Okay.
once. I mean, so ideally we get more people so that we,
Yeah.
it's not just us, yeah.
Yeah, right. No, that's cool. Yeah, just let us know when we need to start rocking and rolling for that, and we can do that. Cool. Next, and last but not least, we have the DDA get-together follow-up. So we were talking last meeting about getting everybody or sending out like an invitation to the businesses in the DDA, maybe getting together and trying to figure out or just explain to these people what we do, the business owners, the managers, whatever it is. Well, I reached out to Rich Kenny from Quimby's because he has that room that's separate there.
Right.
And Rich was more than happy with it. He said, pick a date. So as long as we pick a date and the room's open, he also said he would let us do it for 50 to 60%, kind of depending on what we pick, for the catering. So if we go on the catering website, he's basically cutting us a deal, is what he said, because he's a part of the DDA and all, and he wants to see us all get together and do so. So he was nice enough to do that. So if you see Rich, tell him thanks. Yeah, really, I haven't looked at the menu or anything like that. I just wanted to know, like, 1, what kind of date would we do? 2, how are we going to go about getting the invitations, I guess, out to everybody? Would be my 2 starting points. And after that, the rest of it will fall into place. It's pretty simple after that. I don't know if we want to just do the old-fashioned, like when we when's our Boo Bash? October 20. Maybe do it. Yeah, maybe do it
Football day, whatever.
November something when it starts to calm down summer-wise and fall and all that, and then we can kind of use the Boo Bash as a reminder to those people. Go drop off our Boo Bash flyer. Also hand them an invitation for that. Then we see them at the Boo Bash. Hey, remember November 15th, we have that at 4 o'clock. Are you still in to come? And then kind of use it as a marketing tool, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Sure.
So if we do, are we talking like a couple drinks or what are we?
So Rich said he would do like hors d'oeuvres, like appetizers. And in my head, I was kind of just thinking like an hour. He said soft drinks and all that will be provided. If people want to drink, they would have to buy that separately. We're not going to pay for that, but they can, I guess, if they want to. But it's just going to be the people. It's just going to be like a manager of one of the businesses. We won't have
Meet and greet.
thousands of people in there. It's just going to be one person from that business, one person from that business, and then kind of stand up there and.
Might be surprised how many people we do get, though. I don't know if you guys went to the Alliance. I know Al was there. It was packed.
Was it?
It was
That's good.
absolutely packed the day that the Alliance had their event there, and it was for South County, so it was for a bigger area. But there were a lot of people, I can tell you, from right in that corridor who were at that event. So
Well, good. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. So do we have a day? Do we want to do it on a? I guess let's narrow this down. Weekday or weekend?
Did they do it? What did they do? Did they do like 6 o'clock or something on a weekday?
I think they actually did, wasn't it 5:30 or something? Yeah, they did it.
Oh,
5. But it was like 5:30, maybe to 7. It was like a Tuesday, I think.
Did you guys just have like hors d'oeuvres and stuff? And
They had food, hors d'oeuvres and stuff, and then anybody who wanted to purchase alcoholic beverages purchased their own stuff, and then it was a good event.
awesome.
Hey, Ryan, turn your microphone back on.
Sorry.
Yeah, you could do something too, like even if you did it, get 5, you could say 5 to 5:30 meet and greet or whatever. Kind of start like who's going to be the guest speaker to talk about the DDA from 5:30, to 6 or whatever. So, but I would look at doing this like in September, especially if you want to get some for the Boo Bash, taking a look at, hey, how can you get some more exposure for that?
Oh, yeah,
You know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because if you could, as many people as you could get in there, and then you hand them a flyer for that, and then I
Right.
think what we do too is let people know. You'd also hand them a meeting schedule. What's our meeting schedule for the year? Feel free to come to the board meeting,
Yep.
so that I don't know if they'll show up, but hey, at least they know.
Yeah. Right. They have an idea.
Right.
Would we be opposed to doing that on a Thursday? On a day like, so we can come here, do our thing, and then we can also announce, reminder meeting tonight, 5:30, if people are watching,
Right.
Things like that. Is that a bad idea? Or would you guys rather do it on a day where we don't have a meeting before because we're already taking some time for the meeting here?
I'm open to either or. I don't think Thursdays are bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
Because you get towards kind of like the end of the week.
right.
Meeting's on the 11th
Meeting's on the 11th.
in September.
What if I reach out to,
September.
What did I say? Didn't he
yeah,
say
because Al said September. Yeah, because I said do it after, but Al's got a good point of trying to advertise the Boo Bash during this meeting.
I see. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
What if I reach out to Rich and just see if September 11th is available, 5:30 to 7? Good with everybody?
I think that would be plenty of time.
5:30 to 7, question mark. I will ask Rich here. Then I'll bring that back to the next meeting. And if he says, yes, it's available, I'll also look at the catering menu and we can kind of come up with an idea there. So 5:30 to 7 on September 11th, 2025.
So how are we gonna get the word out for this? Are we gonna flyer it up? Are we gonna see if we can get some kind of marketing?
Trying to think, didn't we, when we did those surveys, didn't we have emails for everybody, or didn't we have something to get them out there? Did we pass those out?
I went door to door.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I think we did.
And you were very effective.
But we're going to have to go out anyway in August. So I mean, if you have something where we can, especially Rachel, if we have a flyer, just something that would say the meeting, and then
That's good.
food.
Two for one.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah.
We would probably do that in August, and that would be perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great timing.
Sure would.
Yeah.
So if you can narrow this down the next couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because if we can get, yeah, for sure. Because when's our next meeting? August 14th, so that's halfway through the month. At that point, you'll at least know I'll be in contact with you of, hey, that's the date, we can make up a flyer within 10 minutes, so. Okay, cool. Yeah, that works. I'll get a hold of Rich, and I will let you guys know ASAP of what he says, and then I'll do the backside of that work.
That's good.
Cool. All right. On to the financial update, number 7 here. Phil, go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Well, of course, I tried, but they're not. We don't have a DDA Fund 248 revenues and expenditures, nor the capital plan for June yet. So it's kind of wait and see. And that's about it on those. And on today's invoice approval was $1,061.42, which again shows a variability from January of, it went from 1,000 to 3,000 to 600 to 200.
Right.
It's so.
Kind of just depends on the month.
Yeah, it depends on the month, so you really can't track that. But I was surprised that Bob didn't have these things ready, and he said they weren't ready.
Yeah, they're working on
Angie said they
did a year.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so,
Yep, that makes sense. Yep. And 4th of July thrown in there probably didn't help the whole.
So then for August, we'll obviously, hopefully, to be doing June and July.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Cool. All right, on to the new business. As always, I always put the brainstorm new ideas. Anybody got any new ideas? I mean, I don't want to say we're overloaded, but we got a lot of stuff going on as it is. So,
Yeah.
we're making steps in the right direction. All right, comments from the public. There is no public in the meeting today, so we'll move on to comments from the board. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
I'm good.
Good. All right. I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting for July 10th, 2025. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. See you guys on August 14th, 2025.
Yeah. And I did that second for Jason.